Welcome in another year of the cash process. We are back. I'm your host, Ben
We're
Houston,
back.
joined by the CEO himself, Anthony Carson. We
We
are
are
here
back.
to talk finally after a long offseason about week one of the NFL. It was a good offseason, but a long one. I'm ready to get back to it. Anthony, how are you doing?
Man, I'm excited. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, Ben. This is the time of year. This is the best time of year for all of us in the sports business. It's been, yeah, you're right. It's been a long off season. I haven't been dabbling as much with MLB, but dude, I'm super excited. We were joking pre-pod. We don't even know how many years we've been doing the cash process. Shout out to you, the fans. Honestly, thank you for joining. It always starts out hot and heavy early in the year. And, as the year goes on, things kind of go six ways sideways, and we just appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot that you guys are still watching us all these years later. We think it's year six, could be year five doing this, but we're not really sure. DFS Karma, in essence, has been eaten alive by Bet Karma over time. It's unbelievable, Ben. Obviously, I need to wear my CEO hat for a quick second since I'm not on this microphone as much anymore as I used to be years ago. But this company started 8 years ago, and it's crazy the growth in the analytics alone that we're seeing from Bet Karma. Highly suggest you guys take a look at our website over there. Obviously, this is always going to be a DFS first podcast. We're going to give you, the people, what you guys want. We know, we love it too. Ben and I are DFS junkies. That's what this podcast is always going to be. We'll sprinkle in mostly cash stuff this season, but we'll talk about how to mix and match for like a three max entry type build as well. But sports betting is taking over. We Ben and I live in Ohio, and this is the first year. This just signifies where this industry is going. This is the first year since Ben and I have done all these cash processes that sports betting is legal in Ohio. So like, it's a thing. It's going mainstream, no matter what state you're living in, if it's legal or not, right? So Bet Karma, just so many tools over there. I mean, I start every week by looking at the live trends, the odds. Everything is AI projections, and AI is a hot trigger word industry wide. But guess what? We've been doing it, Ben, right, for 3 years over there, and really building up. There's so many tools over there that'll help your sports betting digestion and information. Highly suggest checking that out, and we appreciate it. A lot of this stuff's free. There is a premium package over there as well. All right, Ben, I'm gonna go right back to you, man. We got a lot to digest. We were just talking off air. A lot of injuries, probably a lot of value. Week one's always weird. Personally, guys, yes, I'm a high volume player. I will be playing less cash games, especially week one. I'll let Ben talk more about it, but I feel like things will get concentrated, probably on a number of guys. And also classic AC here. I have a flight week one Sunday coming home from a golf trip, so I'm going to miss some of the news and nuggets during the final hours anyway. So there's that.
Yeah, if you guys aren't a part of the rocket ship that is Bet Karma. I don't know what you guys are doing. Obviously, if you guys watch, I do the daily stream Monday through Friday. We go over some Bet Karma tools. You can find that here on the YouTube channel. That'll be going throughout the NFL season as well. So check that out. But yeah, I think week one, like you said, there's definitely going to be like a chalkier build. There always is because of injuries and stuff and how early the pricing comes out. I will say I think it's a great week to play lower dollar like head to heads and the lower
Yes.
dollar, $10 and under in terms of double ups and stuff because there is a very clear way to make your team. And if people aren't doing that,
Right.
then it's just a mistake on their part. And you can take advantage of that with theoretically the newer people that don't normally play that will be playing in week one. So I will say that. But yeah, we're going to go through like usual positions here. We'll start off at quarterback. I mean, the top three guys here in pricing, you guys can see it on the screen, but you have Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, all 7,700 and up, all have super high ceilings due to what they can do with their legs. I mean, Justin Fields was just going crazy last season rushing the football. We know what Jalen Hurts can do. We know what Lamar Jackson can do. So I think those are the clear top plays for like the cash builds. This is earlier than we typically do it. Like I'm really just starting my research for week one, so I don't know where I'm going to be going. But I mean, I do think those are the top projections. Those are the top plays. When you drop down a little bit, this Cleveland game is interesting, Anthony. I know like people in the comments will be like, "Oh, you're talking about the Browns," but this actually
Yeah.
has one of the higher totals of the week. They're at just under 47. This Browns Bengals game. So Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson, I think, are both interesting. There is a cheaper quarterback, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I don't know. What do you think? I think that the top three is in play, and then you can go down a little bit and take a look at some of those guys in the middle as well.
My thought early is I don't think this is a week to get cute. Again, I'm personally, even though I'm a high volume player, a lot of dollars, translation, I think this is going to be a week where you don't get cute. To Ben's point, like I think you're going to end up having the salary to pay for a Lamar or a Jalen. In my opinion, again, this just screams to me like a Lamar game. I mean, kind of coming off the weird offseason there for a while, the kind of, weird vibes. Obviously, he signed. Obviously, things are good now. But I just feel like Lamar and the Ravens, a lot of narratives early in the season I feel like NFL. It's just a different sport. I just see them rolling. And I could see Lamar having that classic, 4 or 5 touchdown game here. He's really intriguing to me at 8,000 again, because we're probably going to have salary savings elsewhere based on injury news going into week 1. I'm not messing around paying down in cash games, even though I think Anthony Richardson's really interesting at 5,600. There's a couple other guys there too. And to your point, like Deshaun, 6,000 in a higher scoring environment. I mean, if you look at the board, my right-hand screen over here, I got 3 monitors. I'm looking at the live trends tool, which is free at Bet Karma. And we color code things as well. We make things really easy on the naked eye. There's a key significant number in the sports betting world for NFL, and it's 47.5. And right now, the Browns-Bengals game it's teetering on that number. And there's actually a little bit more of the sharp money, which we point out, coming in on the over right now. So, again, very intriguing game for a number of reasons. And, again, I think this is bring the haters out early, Ben. Just bring them out. They're coming in the comment section. We're talking about the Browns, especially me. But the Browns have not showed anything, and nor would they in the preseason. This is a new look offense. Like, yes, there's Nick Chubb back there, but I promise you guys, and Ben knows this too, living in Cleveland, this is a pass-first offense. Now, it's just the reality of the situation. So Deshaun's going to average 25 to 35 rushing yards a game. That's a nice little floor for DFS. I'm going to be playing so much Deshaun this year. It's unbelievable for DFS, but 6K is pretty cheap. So.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. We've seen Lamar have some big week 1 games in his career also. Like he's kind of come out and put a big game up in prior years in week 1. For tournaments, Justin Herbert is interesting too. Was interesting that has the highest total of the week. Obviously, that afternoon game there, Chargers Dolphins should be a lot of offense. I like Geno Smith at 6,100 as well. Los Angeles Rams are going to have like a historically bad defense. I think absolutely terrible. So Geno at home definitely interesting to me. Like you said, Anthony Richardson 5,600. I think for tournaments is fine. I have a bet on him to win Rookie of the Year. I think that's fine. They're going to run a ton with him. He is live to set. I think like the carry record for a rookie quarterback for sure. And then we have to mention Sam Howell. He's 4,900 at home against the worst team in football, Arizona. Looked very, very good in the preseason. Matt and I talked about it when we did our first reaction video to the pricing. I brought him up. I said I thought he was the best quarterback taken in last year's draft. Him and Kenny Pickett both looked really good in the preseason, so we'll see what happens there. But, I mean, he has weapons. It's a bad defense. He has Jahan Dotson. He has presumably Terry McLaurin if he's healthy. He has a couple tight ends that can get it done. Antonio Gibson out of the backfield as a receiver in the new look offense with Eric Bieniemy. So 4,900 for Sam Howell against the worst team in football at home is too cheap. Not sure if you have to go there in cash, but it is interesting nonetheless.
I knew you were going to bring up Howell. I just knew it. You are a Howell truther. I will admit, that price stuck out to me too. I mean, again, I think on normal weeks, Ben, as the season goes on, especially with bye weeks, like Howell at 49 would just be a lock. I mean, for cash games. But again, there's going to be salary savings. I will mention 2 more things. Number one, I mean, Jalen, whatever, he's Jalen. He's the king. But Bill Belichick, historically, his team struggle against running quarterbacks. Like, I think he's going to feast week 1 again if you got the salary. And the last few years I've really tried to give my 3 max entry kind of emphasis on these podcasts. I know we are staying cash centric focused because that's what the people want, but this is a disgusting play, Ben. and it is probably my favorite play the entire slate. He will be in one of my main tournament rosters in 3 max entry. He'll be in one of my high dollar GPPs. His name is Baker Mayfield. At 4,900, I kind of was surprised at the price. I mean, I did see some news with Mike Evans today. Is he not? He's playing, right, Ben? He's not sitting out. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that would clearly change things. But I see that Mike Evans
Yeah,
wants a
yeah,
new
he's playing.
contract. So that game to me sticks out big time. And you can get fireworks with Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, obviously Godwin, pair him up with Baker. And again, Baker's it's the weird week one narrative, right? It's like Baker's the type of guy that like there's no bad vibes, there's no bad juju on him, at least right now. I could see him coming out at least week one and having an unbelievable game before he goes into pure Baker mode later in the year. But if and Ben, again, I don't think that Minnesota defense is, from everything that I've read in the offseason, anything to worry about, especially in the secondary. Dome game too, so.
Yeah, I definitely think their defense will take a step back this year. I would probably rather just play Kirk if I was playing someone from that game, but yeah, I do think that game could shoot out for sure, 100%.
Okay, let's move on to running back. Where are you
All right,
starting?
yeah. So, all right, let's talk about the top guys, and then we'll drop down because there is value. So, I mean, at the top, Christian McCaffrey, 8,700, Austin Eckler, 8,400, and then we have Nick Chubb and the rookie Bijan Robinson, all over 8K. I don't know. I don't know how much I like any of these guys. I mean, I think if people are all hyped up about Bijan Robinson,
I
which
know.
I understand, but don't know if I love it at 8K. Chubb is fine at 8,200, but that's still. I know that they've talked up like they want to throw him the ball a little bit more this year, but I still want to see it before I just jam him
Right.
in here at 8,200. And then I don't know, McCaffrey. Don't love the matchup against Pittsburgh, but they just have so many weapons there that I don't know if I want to put him in my cash lineup. And then Eckler, I mean, like I said, it's the highest total, but I'm a little bit lower on Eckler for the year, maybe than I was last year. So I don't know if I really love any of these higher price guys. What do you think?
I feel like I want exposure to Bijan just because he's transcendent. I feel like so I'll probably if I'm with you, man. I mean, again, here's my other Browns take. Like, yeah, like I love Nick Chubb. I mean, but man, I don't know. I think I'd rather just have an exposure to Bijan in one of my 3 max entries over, Nick Chubb or even in cash games. I don't know the second if I'm gonna go there in cash games, but I think it would be Bijan. I think. Um, but I will take a hard look at Austin Eckler because I know kind of what I'm working with, at least for cash games. So again, it's probably honestly 60-40. I lean Eckler if I had the cash because it's just so early. We don't know all the news, but um, I'm not worried about Josh Jacobs though, man, either. I mean, I know it's kind of a brutal matchup, but 7,700, I feel like he's going to go completely overlooked on this slate in general. Not even talking cash games. It's just something I'm generally keeping my eye open to see if he'll be single digit ownership for 3 max entry stuff.
Yeah, well, I will say whoever plays Bijan Robinson, like they're gonna be tilting when it's the first drive and you see like Tyler Algier is just like running Atlanta down the field. Like
Yep,
like this is gonna
100%.
happen.
Yeah,
People are gonna be
yeah,
like, "Where's Bijan Robinson? What's going on?" But
yeah.
all right, moving down. Henry 78 for tournaments. I like. Typically, I would think I would like Ramondre, but that is a tough matchup. Could play into it though with his pass catching ability. That could be a good thing. If they get down, tough front, could be a lot of check downs. So I don't know. We'll wait and see on that. I would assume we don't have projections up yet. They'll be coming up soon on our website, but I would assume Ramondre honestly probably will project decently well at that price at 7K.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping down though, I think Alexander Madison at 65 is interesting. They didn't keep anyone of consequence behind him. They have Ty Chandler, but it doesn't look like, at least early on in the season, it is going to be a lot of Madison for Minnesota. And you and I both like that game outlook in terms of the scoring. And then you have Kenneth Walker at 6K. like I said, Rams defense is going to be terrible at home. We've been playing Kenneth Walker a lot to end last season. So I like him at 6K. I like Rachaad White at 5,500. Rachaad White is like better, I think, than people will give him credit for. They do
Yeah.
have an electric backup there, rookie Sean Tucker, but Rachaad White can catch passes. He's going to get probably a 3-down roll, at least to begin the season. And I mean, you were talking up Tampa, like good matchup against Minnesota in the dome game. So 5,500 for Rachaad White looks pretty good. And then we have to mention Jamal Williams, who's 5,100. Kendre Miller hurt his hamstring, so we don't know about him. They already will be missing Alvin Kamara, who's suspended for 3 games. So could be a heavy dose of Jamal Williams in week 1 for New Orleans. They're at home. He's only 5,100. Could be pretty chalky there.
Hey, I was telling Ben before the pod, I have so much Jamal Williams in Underdog. Shout out to our partners at Underdog. If you don't know what it is, honestly, since DFS came into inception, I feel like 10 years ago, it is by far my favorite new product in the last few years. It's really been growing on me. I've done about 100 drafts this offseason, so I feel real strong about my sample size. I was telling Ben, so we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm excited. If you guys haven't heard of it, we got a promo bonus. Hop into our Discord through our website. Just click the Underdog link. You can easily find it. Draft teams year round, really, for all sports. Ben, I don't think you mentioned it, but I have my first lock button of the entire year for this podcast, but I don't think you mentioned it. Maybe you just overlooked him or I didn't hear you. But I feel like Dameon Pierce is lock and cash. Am I wrong by that statement? For his price at 5,800, right?
I mean, I like Dameon Pierce, but I don't know. I mean, on the road, 10-point, what are they, 9, 10-point dogs? I don't know.
He's in every play, though.
I would rather
that's
play.
Kind of.
Well, they did bring in Devin Singletary, so I don't know exactly what his role is going to be. Well, I would prefer Walker, I think, to him. I would prefer Rachaad White. I didn't mention him, but I really like Antonio Gibson. Matt and I talked about the Washington guys in our first reaction video, and he was kind of leaning Brian Robinson at that point. But I don't know. After the preseason, I really like how they used Gibson. They were more willing to throw him the ball under Bieniemy than they were last season. He's only 5,200 at home, like I said, against a really bad defense. So Antonio Gibson at 5,200 looks really good to me too.
Yeah, tough though for cash games with him though. I mean, I love him too. Just because that game scares me. I mean, is Dobbs, who the Browns just traded, like is he their starting quarterback? I don't think anyone knows anything. I worry.
Yeah, I think Dobbs is going to be their starter. Yes.
And they're traveling to the East Coast, first game of the year. For a West Coast team traveling East Coast, that game scares the hell out of me. Like obviously, Washington, you would assume would stomp on them. So I don't really know who to trust in that backfield for that game. But I digress. Yeah, I'm still leaning Pierce, man. I mean, that's just my gut call. Maybe I'm wrong there, but that's my first lock of the year. I mean, if I'm making cash games, he's going to be in my lineup. He's just too cheap. 3 down back. Again, we'll see how it plays out, but that's definitely my lock so far. You hit a lot of the other guys, obviously. I like, man, we made so much money with Kenneth Walker. I was laughing when you brought him up because it's so true. And I, to a fault, I'm kind of loyal to some guys like year over year, and maybe I carry that too long. But I got to be careful with the Kenneth Walker situation this year because he made me so much money, and that 6,000 is a very fair price at home. I really weight the at-home games, especially early in the year, especially when these guys are healthier. They're a 5.5-point favorite against a really, really bad Rams team. To your point, I don't even know if Aaron Donald is even playing. I mean, isn't he hurt? Oh.
No, Donald's playing, but they literally have nobody else of consequence on their defense other than him. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, man. So that's about it. I love the Rachaad White call. Like I was considering him as my quote unquote lock. I wanted to have one lock button take today for the running back, but he is, I could even see myself going with the Pierce White combo if I did need exposure with high quarterback and high price receivers. So that being said, you want to pivot to wide receiver.
Yeah, real quick before we move to receiver, I do want to shout out Devin Achane's 4,900 on DraftKings in the highest total of the week. Jeff Wilson Jr. on IR, not someone for cash because they do have Raheem Mostert there still, but for tournaments, I don't know if you know much about Devin Achane. He's a rookie, but actual Olympian speed was really, really electric at Texas A&M. Mike McDaniel is exactly the type of coach that I would count on being able to get him out in space.
That's a great point.
So something interesting for tournaments, but yeah, let's move on. Wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. I don't really want to talk about that because we have no idea, right? Like obviously we're making
Mm-hmm.
this video early, so anyone watching knows if he was for some reason out. I don't
Puka
think that's
Nuka.
going to be the case. I think, yeah.
Puka
I
Nuka.
don't think he'll miss the game, but I guess we don't know. It's early enough, so we'll monitor that. Justin Jefferson is tough for me to fade in cash games.
Right.
I mean, Matt has brought it up on the airwaves here multiple times, but he historically in his career is very, very good at home in the dome in terms of his touchdown scoring. We think that game shoots out 8,800. We're going to be able to fit that price tag in pretty easily with some of the value at running back. So really like Jefferson as a priority play for me in cash right now. Tyreek Hill in that game against the Chargers with that total is always fine. Jamar Chase, I think, is fine, certainly, in a game that could shoot out against the Browns. Devontae, tournaments only for sure at Denver, given his price compared to some of these other guys. And then I'll mention A.J. Brown GPP for sure, too, along with Devonta Smith. But Keenan Allen looks really good to me at 7,300. He should be, a target vacuum again this season. I expect the offense to be a little bit better with Kellen Moore there. Justin Herbert, I think they're going to throw it downfield a little bit more. But Keenan Allen on DraftKings full point PPR is always a good play.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, without a doubt. And I feel like we've all been Keenan Allen truthers forever. And I can anticipate right now, I'll make a bold call. Keenan Allen will be the highest owned wide receiver on the slate. Like the price is fair. It's not high, it's not low, but it's very fair. I mean, it's very close to a 6K number there, Ben. 7,300 in a shootout game, the highest game total of the slate. Keenan Allen by far will be the highest owned, in my opinion. I love the Jefferson call. Again, even looking at doing a double take at 8,800. Like we've played DFS long enough to know that actually is cheap. I mean, I know at first glance that it's not, but it is, Ben, right? I mean, he should be higher priced. He should be 95, 96, 97. I mean, what am I missing there? So you're right. Like I think and credit to Matt. He won a lot of money. I feel like even 2 years ago when Jefferson was really kind of on that upswing, kind of becoming the superstar, because he kept paying up. He kept doubling down on the talent in the dome, to your point, right? So I feel like that is a great call. Like I want to continue to play Jefferson more this year. I don't think I personally played him enough last year. I kind of, was hoping on some of the regression at times, and it burnt me. So I think my top two receivers are probably going to be Jefferson and Keenan Allen in cash games. And I will tell you, Ben, what I hate admitting right now is our friend Mr. Denzel Ward is in the concussion protocol for like the ninth time. I mean, his career could be coming to an end. Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, one of them, is going to eat against the Browns. If he's out, I know we got MJ Emerson there, but the Browns, I mean, again, second highest total on the board. There's going to be points scored. One of them is going nuclear in that game. I mean, you could probably guesstimate it will be Chase, but it might be T. Higgins. So just FYI, make sure you get your Bengals exposure out there in that game as well.
Yeah, both Bengals guys really, really good plays. I feel like moving down, I mean, there's some really good tournament plays in here. Both Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk, I think, are good tournament plays. Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. It kind of looks like, I don't know, maybe Jackson Smith and Jigba plays now. I have no idea. We'll wait and see on that situation. But if you're playing any Geno stacks or any sort of game stacks, mini stacks in that game, the Seattle guys look good. Chris Olave looks really good at 6,500 to me. I like that price tag. I like Chris Godwin at 5,900. Looks a little too cheap. So a lot of like good plays in this mid tier. I think maybe
Right.
more so for tournaments. And then dropping down, if you want to talk like cash games, I mean, there's a big range here in cash. I think you can look at these guys. Cortland Sutton, presumably with no Jerry Jeudy at 5,200, looks really strong. Jahan Dotson, maybe with no Terry McLaurin, we'll see. But regardless, Jahan Dotson at 5K looks really good. Brandon Ayuk at 4,900. Matt and I both think that he's going to have a really strong year. So he looks pretty good at that price. So there's a lot of like cheaper guys that I think are strong in this 4 to 5K tier. And then there's one really cheap guy, which we'll mention. But do you like anyone in this like 4 to 5K up to Sutton? Because Sutton at 52, I think is going to be pretty chalky as of right now.
Yeah, I was going to kind of harp on Sutton, but I figured, like you were implying, he's going to be very chalky. I mean, obviously, the one guy you didn't mention, again, not to be truther here, I mean, Amari's in a good spot, man. I mean, healthy, coming off the offseason. Amari always gets in trouble during the season, I feel like, when the hamstring stuff, and he's always like kind of dinged up at times. And let's be real, there's massive home road splits with Amari Cooper, right? The weather forecast is not that far out. It looks to be pretty decent weather in Cleveland. So I love that game in general. 5,800. I mean, it's a nice pivot, right? So I'm not saying Amari is necessarily a cash game, and this podcast has evolved over time. I think it's an amazing pivot right off the chalkier Cortland Sutton for only $600 more. You kind of hit everyone else. I mean, I probably won't have exposure to Ayuk this week. I feel like I'm a little bit more down on him than you guys. There's just so many mouths to feed there. Yeah, I guess Dotson's probably going to be mega chalk if McLaren is out. Other than that, I mean, I don't like this range terribly much other than going down further. There is a gentleman who I think is going to be a free square this week who might make Cortland Sutton not as popular. I mean, do we think Marvin Mims is going to be very chalky amongst at least the sharps? Because I feel like he is. At 3,000, which is free.
I don't. Well, yeah. So obviously the price is really good. But the reason I'll say maybe no is because you have Elijah Moore at 3,800, who is going to project extremely.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, Elijah Moore is going to be very, very chalky. That's why I really didn't mention Cooper much. I think Cooper's fine in tournaments, but
yeah.
Cash, Elijah Moore, 3,800 looks really strong. Marvin Mims will definitely get some traction at that price. And then I'll throw Zay Flowers in there as well at 4K. If you like Lamar, Zay Flowers is really, really good for only 4,000, taking advantage of, someone that we haven't seen yet. He's a rookie. So I like Zay Flowers at 4K for tournaments, but Elijah Moore and Mims are the chalkier guys down low for cash, I think, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that pretty much for at least the cash rounds out kind of the bottom tier. I mean, there's a lot of other guys like, an extremely awesome pivot off Dotson if McLaren is out is Curtis Samuel at 4,200. I mean, he's even cash game playable if you want, but I think that's an amazing pivot if Dotson does become very chalky. So that's how at least I like to think about lineups, guys. Like as the year goes on, like I kind of wholeheartedly make a quote unquote best cash lineup. And then some of my other main GPP pivots, I am actively trying to punish my cash lineup, if that makes sense. Like you might want to rewind that statement on YouTube, but I try to hurt my own lineup. I try to pick guys that are going to screw the other guy in my main cash lineup, if that makes sense. So I could see that happening with Samuel. Another guy, Ben, is isn't Romeo Dobbs highly questionable? So that leaves the door open for your boy, Mr. Reed, correct?
Yeah, we'll wait and see on that situation closer, but yeah, I'm a big Jayden Reed fan, so anything to help him, I would be all for it. Big Jayden Reed fan, and Jordan Love threw him a couple touchdowns in the preseason as well, so they do seem to have a connection.
Cool. Yeah, I got a lot of exposure to those guys. Underdog. Yeah, let's go to tight end.
Yeah, so tight end, it's the same situation here per usual. Probably looking to save a little bit in cash games, tournaments. Mark Andrews, great play. TJ Hawkinson is fine, although he did finally get his contract signed, so he should be good to go. A lot of people didn't know he was not participating in Team Heroes for the entire summer until just the other day when he finally got his contract. But tournaments, he's fine. Kittle's fine. Dallas Goedert's fine. All those guys are fine in tournaments. No Travis Kelce on this slate because they played Thursday night. So I'll be looking down to the mid-tier for cash. David Njoku at 4,200. Talked about him on that other video with Matt, but I think that's a good way to get some more Cleveland exposure. Juwan Johnson at 3,900. He's a touchdown scored 8, I think touchdowns, 7 or 8 last year. Obviously getting a quarterback upgrade. Chigakonkwo with presumably no Treylon Burks. He's only 3,800. Looks like a pretty strong play. And I don't know if you want to get gross. Cade Otton is going to be on the field pretty much every play for Tampa. You like Tampa's offense in this spot. He's 33. Jelani Woods is on IR for Indy. So, if you want a little Kylan Granson action at 2,900, but
yeah, tight end looks disgusting, at least in week one. It's already week one and it looks just like a dumpster fire. So kind of like you, as usual, I'm just paying down and I'll take my pain. The only guy I think you didn't mention that I have interest in is Hayden Hurst. Not that I like love him, but he's 3K. I think he's like the guy in Carolina. They're talking about trying to feed him a decent amount. You would assume Bryce Young needs some safety valve there. So that's somebody I got my eye on if I absolutely need to get down to that 3K range.
Yeah. I'll shout out Luke Musgrave. I think he could have a good year for Green Bay, but I mean, we just don't know like the pass volume we're going to see from Green Bay. We just haven't seen the offense, so that would be a tournament only for me at 2,900. But I do think he could have a decent season. I guess move on to defense here. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any defense takes? I think Washington at home, 2,800 against Arizona. They'll be massively owned. You'll just plug them into your cash lineup. Tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't know. Steelers at 3K. I kind of like at home. Broncos historically are very good at home early season against the Raiders. Maybe you could talk me into them, but I think Steelers are live to win that game against San Fran.
A couple of pivots, yeah. I mean, I would assume it's Washington in cash games, which is probably popular. Ironically, in that same game, I mean, I don't think Arizona's defense is probably going to be as bad as people think. 2,500. The only other kind of pivots I'm looking for cheaply is 100% the Browns. I know, Ben. The comments will be flooding in, but talk about upgrades. I mean, is there a team that upgraded a defense more in the offseason? I don't think so. I mean, the Browns are better than people think. So on defense, right? So we'll see how that plays out. But 2,600, and the Browns have had Burrow's number. With Zadarius Smith now on the other side, there should just be more stacks. I mean, maybe to get a lucky pick six or something, but nobody's going to own the Browns at 2,600 against Joe Burrow. Like, that's how, ironically, that's how you win the $1 million sometimes. It's the freaking defense. It's 3% owned. So I'll probably get weird with them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, defense you can play. You can play anybody for sure.
Anybody.
100%. Overall, that does it, though. If you guys made it this far, please like the video on YouTube. It helps us out. We appreciate it. Anthony, any final words for the first cash process of the season?
No final words. Just keep a good bankroll management, guys. Like I always worry myself on week one. I wanted, years ago I made mistakes. I go too heavy. It's just a different week. We need some data to come in, have fun, of course, but definitely if you're a one lineup guy, my suggestion is to change that this season and try to get to a 3 max guy. Unless you're, doing more than that. That's obviously fine too. We got the tools on our website if you need them to build out the simulations for 20 to 150 lineups. But we're excited, guys. I mean, we're going to continue to move forward as a company with both websites, dfskarma.com and betkarma.com. Really, really would love you guys to give a check to betkarma.com. There's so much going on over there. It's like we can't even talk about it in this podcast because it'll take all day. But that does it, Ben. Until week 2, good luck this week, guys.